I'm joined here today by the one, the only, of course, talking about Raquel Pennington taking on Julia Avila on December 18th. Raquel, thanks so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Before we get to all this fight stuff, there's something that's got my curiosity, and I need to know about it. When you're not fighting, when you're not an MMA fighter, do you have some other venture that you're into? Do you have like another art kind of thing that you're into, like perhaps acting or anything like that?
It's funny. I actually did some acting in a film with some of my buddies and whatnot. But I just live an adventurous lifestyle. I'm super family oriented. I'm always on the go. Everybody's like, we don't understand how you live the life you do because it seems like you never slow down. Um, I I was born and raised here in Colorado, and so it's just I'm always outdoors, hiking, hunting, fishing, camping, snowboarding, snowshoeing, ice climbing, rock climbing, whitewater rafting, like literally everything you can think of. So I kind of just when I'm not in the gym, like I'm just enjoying life, living in the moment.
Because I believe you do have like a full page on, I think it's IMDb and a bunch of other stuff. Like you have like a bunch of movies that have your name on it. Is all that stuff accurate?
Not a bunch of them, but there is some in there, yeah.
Is that something that you've thought about pursuing, or is that just they needed you for some stuff and you just kind of show up?
The opportunity presented itself, so it was like, okay, why not? Let's try it. I'm not opposed to it. It's actually a lot of fun. And so, it's way better than kind of getting punched in the face and doing everything else. So, later in life, once I'm done being all crazy and having fun with fighting, maybe do something chill like that.
When you say something chill, like I think a lot of people they think of MMA fighters doing movies, and it's always you're the one character that can actually fight, right? They always have you as like the token kick everybody's ass. You think
Yeah.
it's gonna be stuff like that, or is it possible that you can do stuff outside of like, hey, I had a career outside of acting?
I think it could be anything, really. I feel like I'm the type of person ever since I was young that no matter what I put my mind to, I kind of make it happen. So, whether it was doing stunts and acting and fighting or whether it's just acting out, I've always been into all of that, especially like in school and theater and different things. So,
So you mentioned being busy, and we see on your Instagram, I believe you're doing a lot of hiking, a lot of sightseeing. How do you incorporate that into your training camp? Because it is a form of exercise and stuff like that. How do you sort of make all of that work together?
um, hiking to me is just, for one, it's a mental and emotional recharge. I love being outdoors. I have a lot of dogs, so I got my gang that just kind of take out there and go get lost. I use it more of active recovery, just to where like I have the intense training throughout the week, and then on my weekends, like I just go out and like I said, everybody sees it as exercise and this, that, or another, but I don't feel like I'm working out. Obviously, I live in high altitude, so it's just kind of nonstop with that cardio wise. But other than that, it's just an emotional recharge.
So do you still have to watch out for things like injuries and stuff like that? Because I assume when you're doing stuff like that, all it takes is one slip and you completely mess up your ankle. Like, is that something you think about, or is it just trying to enjoy what you're trying to do?
I don't really think about it. I've always lived like life on the edge. So, I really don't think about it. I just kind of, I'm out there. I won't say that I haven't slipped and acted crazy or just do some wild things, but it is who I am. And if I get injured, I'll take it as it comes. But I just kind of see it as, I might as well do the things that I love and take those chances because at the end of the day, I can wake up and I can get out of bed and step wrong and slip and fall and hit my head on the dresser and I have an injury. So, I might as well live, right?
You sound very similar to, I believe there's another fighter that when they say the exact same thing. I believe that's Donald Cowboy Cerrone. A lot of people that's pretty much the same thing. Is there a BMF ranch coming to Colorado? Is there anything like that we can look forward to?
Once I'm done fighting and stuff, I would definitely love to um coach and do different things. My biggest thing is I actually want to retire with a ton of land and I want to be build a huge log cabin and kind of just live off the grid. Like I said, I grew up and I've always been an outdoors woman and so I just love doing that. So it's just, I don't know, kind of depends on which route I go. Colorado Springs is definitely growing a lot. So that's hard to see. But it's funny that you bring up Cowboy because him and I are good buddies. And you're right. Like sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, well, I'm actually kind of a female version of Cerrone. Like when he comes to Colorado, he's like, hey, you want to go snowmobiling? Or he's always hitting me up. We take the boats out to the lake, different things. So, I mean, yeah, it we're pretty similar in all that.
That's got to be a good way for you too to stay mentally focused. I know some people they go into training camp and it's nonstop just eating chicken and rice and broccoli and just think about the fight, go to sleep. But I assume for you, like it's got to be good mentally too because you have other interests aside from I'm preparing to get in a fist fight.
Absolutely, I mean, I think being an athlete, like it's easy to always keep your mind stuck on something, and to especially in fighting. Oh, my crazy cat that I rescued from Dubai wants to say hi. But it's always easy to keep your mind stuck in that, and you're sitting there and your job is in the kitchen, your job is in the gym, your job, like your mind is going, you're doing the mental training outside of the gym. Um and for me, those are where my mental breaks are at, whether it's spending time with my family, whether it's just kind of being at home, whether it's being out in the mountains or doing something different and just living life. Because when I'm at the gym, that's work. But I'm very passionate about what I do and I'm grateful for the life that I have. So even then, I don't see it as work, but sometimes it can be mentally, physically, and emotionally draining. So these are times that I definitely do recharge.
But before we get to the fights and stuff, you brought up something interesting. This cat that you rescued from Dubai. I feel like it deserves a follow up question. What's the story here? Because Dubai is all the way across the world. Like how on earth did that happen?
Yeah, you want to see this guy? Here.
Yeah, I mean if he's here.
What's up, Dubai? He's crazy. He's actually a Savannah Bengal mix. And I think with him just having the Savannah in him, he's a giant cat. He's 23 pounds. And oh man, he keeps me busy. If somebody just like lived in my house with me or was a fly on the wall, the stuff that goes on in this house. Like I am constantly fighting with this cat. He's very vocal. I've never had
Yeah.
a cat or been around a cat so vocal. So yeah, it's interesting. People will call me and they're like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "My freaking cat." Like I feel crazy half of the time, but he's just unique, and everybody who comes over here, I have tons of friends and even some family members, and they're not cat lovers. And let me tell you, there's a long list of people who want this cat because they're like, he's super cool. But I went over there on a friend vacation. Just took some time off in between fights and went out there to have some fun. And we were actually at the Gold Sook. It was our last day, so that morning we went to the Gold Sook to go shopping. It was super hot out. It was 124 degrees, just miserable. Every store that we went in, they were giving us like little Jello cups, pretty much with water. So I just peeled the top. I seen him and two other cats laying out there, and I just felt bad for them. So I actually went outside and I gave him my water, and he jumped up and he started drinking the water immediately. And then he just like started purring and was like rubbing all over my legs and everything. And, I wanted to pet him, but I was like, I don't really know if you have
No.
diseases or whatever. And they have like a feral cat issue, I guess, there. And the people don't really like the cats. So everybody was looking at me all disgusted because I was messing with the cat. And so, anyways, story short, I mean, we kept walking around and shopping, looking in different places. And every time I would come out, he was following me. And then we went into a restaurant. We were in there. I mean, there was a big group of us. So we were in there for about hour 45, 2 hours. And mind you, I mean, you got tons of people walking around that place. I came out of there and he just like jumped up and he followed me to the taxi, and I was like, okay. Like he did that and it just seriously melted me. So I started calling everybody back in the States. I'm like, you guys need to wake up. Somebody figure out how to help me adopt this cat. Like I need to rescue him. And it turned into this whole little rescue mission. So anyways, I ended up going back to where I originally found him at. I talked to the guy at the jewelry shop, and he said that his family like throws him scraps and everything, and he's always hanging around. So I got his information. I took pictures of Dubai, and then I went back to the hotel, and we were sitting by the pool, and I was out there calling every place to try to find a rescue, and finally found somebody who spoke English, and so we were able to communicate. I sent her the photos, gave her the guy's information, and she went out and rescued him and checked him for diseases, got him neutered, and did all his medical stuff. And then Colorado requires a 30-day-old rabies vaccine, so they boarded him the whole time, and they were just like video chat me or send me pictures every single day. And then they put him on a 16-hour flight to Denver, Colorado, and I went and picked him up at the airport.
That's crazy. I would have never thought to, if I would have been in another country like that, I don't think the thought of this thing can come back home with me would have been like, this is just a pet while I'm on vacation. That's crazy.
Listen, I'm telling you, when I get my mind set on something, it's happening. And this cat just kind of stole my heart, but I've had him now for, they estimated him to be a year old, and now he's 4, I think. He just turned 4. So I've had him for the 3 years, and it's been an interesting 3 years.
For sure. I've heard some stories about the cats that are like, I guess like half wild or something like that. It sounds like it can get pretty intense if you're not careful.
Absolutely. They're a different breed for sure, but he's fun, and half of the time when he drives me crazy, I'm like, "You're up for adoption again." But then I wouldn't know what to do without him.
All right. So let's talk about your fight a little bit. You're taking on Julia Avila. It seems like a pretty quick turnaround, at least when it got announced. How did this fight kind of come together? Because it seems like it came pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody who follows my career and stuff, I've had some serious ups and downs within the past 5 years. Just been trying to get back to myself, whether it's medical issues, whether it's some sort of setback. And so then I fought last year during COVID against Marion, and started feeling more like myself, and was determined to go on a run. I've been dealing with the thyroid issue for a few years now, and doctor's been tracking that. I seen a hormone specialist, and then I ended up going under the suspension for my thyroid meds, and it was just a shit show in general. So just having my time off, I mean, I had nothing to do besides sit around. And so I always said as soon as I got cleared and was healthy again and whatnot, that I was going to get pretty active. And I've never been the type of person to turn down a fight. So anytime they offer me anything, I'm in for it. And then I just fought Panny, what, 3 weeks ago or something like that, 4 weeks ago. Um, and immediately was like, hey, I want another fight, and just pushing, because I just want to get back out there. I want to make my run for it, want to climb back to the top and do exactly what I'm here for.
Were you surprised that they were able to find you someone so quickly? Because it seems like when you get ranked, it can be a little difficult. But this one, it seems like, and they found you a pretty decent name too.
Not really. I mean, at first, Jermaine obviously just pulled out of the fight with Aldana, so we were talking about that fight, which would have been great as well to have another rematch. But I mean, I don't care if you're number one. I don't care if you're ranked number 50. Like, at the end of the day, all these girls bring a different challenge to the table. I'm a person who loves challenges, so I was just like, find me somebody, anybody who's willing to fight. Like, let's get going. And so, yeah, he called me with her, and I was like, I don't know. I'm the type of person, like I said, I mean, I'm doing other stuff and living life outside. And so I honestly don't pay attention to things until I need to. And he texted me and was like, hey, how about Julia on December 18th? And I was like, I'm in. They sent me the contract. I signed it. And then I was like, wait, who is this? So I turned around and had to like Google her, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I've seen her fight and whatnot. And so it's definitely going to be a fun fight. I'm excited.
Did you like what you saw when you do the research? So I don't know how far you go. I don't know if you're someone that watches tape and stuff, but did you like what you saw? Like, did they get you excited for the matchup?
Oh, absolutely. I always watch tape, and then my coaches watch tape. We'll watch it as a team, and then of course, like, we have a general idea of everything that they do, but my main focus is on what I can control, and that's myself. So we build our game plan and then just go to work from there. But I mean, at the end of the day, just to have the opportunity to turn around, get back out there, doing what I love, like, what's not exciting about that?
And so a win in this fight takes you obviously 3 in a row. This is a big name opponent. Like, are you thinking about that kind of stuff? Like, what you can sort of make with your career at this point?
Absolutely. I mean, always thinking about the next step. And for me, like I said, it's climbing back up to the top again and whatnot. And before the whole suspension thing, I was ranked 4th in the world. And not that the rankings really matter. I mean, you could be number 1 and get a title shot, or you could be number 12 and you put on a good fight and you're getting a title shot. But, I mean, I've done a lot of great things in my career. And at the end of the day, I just want to feel like myself again and getting back out there, staying active. So, uh, it's just about having fun. I'm passionate about what I'm doing again, and I feel like throughout this time off, like, it was probably one of the best things that could have happened, as frustrating as it was. So now I'm excited, and one step at a time. It's for me. I'm super excited. Like, it's gonna be a fun fight. She's a great fighter and stuff, and I think it's just gonna play out for an exciting matchup, and then I'll take the next step as it comes.
Are you able to tell us what the solution was for the thyroid issues? Because we know USADA has stopped a lot of people when as soon as it comes to hormones and stuff. What was kind of the solution with if you're able to share that with us?
Well, I went on the 6 month suspension, and it was just like, at this rate, it's super frustrating with USADA, because I understand the whole thing with clean sport and everything. and whatnot. And this whole situation came about because I mean, you have those athletes who screw things up for everybody. So uh, it was kind of one of those things that I don't want any more reasons for stuff like this to happen. So I pretty much just took myself off of every medication. Like I don't put anything in my system anymore. And, I started working with Lou, nutrition, and he just started figuring things out through diet, got everything balanced, and my body is actually like super balanced now. My hormones are balanced. Like I actually feel really good. My thyroid issue, I was like balding and losing my hair. My hairline is actually starting to grow back in, and like just everything's managed. So I mean, I just went all natural, and we figured out what foods like flare things up and what foods to stay away from and what foods are actually working really well for me. And so, I don't only just have a job in the gym. Like, I mean, I have to really focus on my job in the kitchen as well. And it's a lot of discipline, it's a lot of work, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's worth it. So.
Well, when the USADA stuff happens, what are you thinking in terms of damage control? Because we know USADA, a lot of people they don't ask questions. It's just USADA, you're on steroids. Is there some sort of plan? Like, all right, what can we do to avoid that stuff? Because that's not what happened.
It's super frustrating. Like it was super frustrating just given the fact that I'm over here just trying to get healthy, that doctors have been following this. I mean, they talked to the doctors, they like seen all my blood work. I redid tests, like everything. But it's just like I personally don't understand USADA. Just on the fact when it comes to like our TUE program, like it's supposed to be an exemption. And I feel like every athlete I've ever talked to, including myself going through this, like we call and we ask for a TUE for a medical reason, and it's like, oh no, you can't do that. So it almost feels like if we want to be a professional athlete, like we got to choose between being a professional athlete or being healthy, and that's super frustrating. I mean, even if we get the common cold, taking Nyquil has ingredients in it that can actually get us in trouble. So all of it's just kind of, we just have to really watch what we're doing. And like I said, at the end of the day, I mean, I respect the clean sport and stuff. Like it should always be that way, but we're still human beings. Like we have issues and whatnot. And especially with weight cuts, like weight cuts take a massive toll on our bodies. And so overall, it's just, I don't know, it's just a frustrating experience overall.
All right, so one last question for you. It's kind of a boring question. You've heard it a million times, I'm sure, but that's how we end the interviews. How do you see yourself getting your hand raised against Avalon December 18th?
Focusing on myself and doing what I do best.
All right, there we go. We can't argue with that. Thanks so much for the time, Raquel. I really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to this fight. It's going to be a great one.
Thank you. Great chat.